Wow, I sure am still a witch. And hello, I'm cold. Luckily I have a cat and a blanket. Hello, and welcome to Jumpscare, a show about horror movies that I want to talk about, but not that much. This is still my cat. Today's episode will feature a found footage. Yes! A real one. In the current year. Free yourself, beast. Free your... Hello? Oh, you're just gonna chill. Oh, you wanna come back? Okay. Baby wants to come back to mama. Do you want to talk about horror films? Hello?
Whenever something's not spoken about, I've got to ask why. It's my job as a journalist.
The Tunnel is a 2011 found footage horror film about a tunnel. And people go inside of it. Then less people come out of it. And then they make a documentary about how less people came out of it.
The plan from the start was, when we got to the tunnels, was to get to the lake. Because that's where the story was.
Oh geez, it's dark and atmospheric. And I mean dark as in not lit, like at all. And by not lit, I don't mean that it's not cool. It was very lit. Just underlit. Is dark. Basically, there's this government cover-up about underground tunnels in Australia, and a lady and her crew go down into the tunnels to learn that it's actually the location for the newest SCP.
Now.
It lives in the dark and is scared of lights. It likes to remove people's eyes for later consumption. It is a very good boy, in that it's evil and will kill you. It's that very specific subgenre of found footage that I enjoy, which is people go looking for something to film and exploit, and then it's actually evil and it kills them. It just leaves room for such neat and new locations, and is a pretty good measure for something scary and dark living under our world. Horror movies like this have the adverse effect of making us more skeptical of the world around us, because sure, this SCP may not actually exist. It probably does. But the concept of living in a world where something like this could exist and we just wouldn't have any idea is something most people can buy. And if you love movies like that, you should also check out Troll Hunter. It's really cool, you'll like it. I think this concept is something found footage has a tendency to well replicate when it chooses. We're all very familiar with the work that Vice does, and it's really not a stretch to think that, that, but with a monster is possible. I just think that stuff like that really thinks about its purpose in filming something ends up connecting so much better than a found footage movie where someone buys a camera and then they just start filming randomly and then something extraordinary happens. Taking this more documentary style approach just makes it feel more human and more meaningful in an abstract sense.
I was pleasantly surprised by this movie, mostly because it was kind of minimalist in ways that most found footage, and I have seen most of them, simply are not. There's really not a lot going on in this one. There's not a lot of violent death, there's not a lot of loud noises, and there's not a lot of jump scares. Ironically. It's mostly an atmosphere piece with some pretty good acting and a constant commitment to its own diegesis. The movie is staying within the character's perspective the entire time without trying to make that experience more scarier with music. It's a horror movie where the acting is good and the whole location and atmosphere is really cool. And everything just sort of ties itself together under the theme of this bizarre evil that lies just under the surface of our world.
The ultimate irony of this movie is how the narratives all collide in interesting ways. It's clear that the government was covering up this alteration in the water supply, but the reasons were, an SCP lived in the water, and it's assumed that no matter who entered to try and get it out of there, it just ate their fucking eyeballs. So after a while, the government must have just been like, fuck this, it can just have the water, and then left. And then they put guards at the tunnel entrances so people didn't stumble down there and have their eyeballs eaten. I wonder how many eyes were eaten before they learned their lesson. Oh well. The crew of this movie only had to lose a couple of pairs of eyeballs before learning theirs, which makes for a really low body count, which I kind of think is for the best. Like, something that I think found footage movies have a big problem with is this tendency to make everything fucking huge and intense when it's a genre ruled by its subtleties. There's a plausible deniability to this movie, and I think that really adds something to it. But beyond that, it means it spends more time letting you get to know this location and the characters involved, so you maybe, just maybe, have a little bit more of a vested interest.
If it was true that homeless were going missing, this was a big story. This is something that we could now prove.
Bell that, Moss.
Did you?
And there's an energy, an immersion here that we don't see a lot of outside of like YouTube urban exploration videos. You know exactly the type of atmosphere I'm talking about. It's the, I know I shouldn't be looking at this, but I am, and if something bad were to happen here, I would just be fucked. And also horrified. It feels so much more like if an urban exploration went wrong than it does a horror movie, and I kind of wish found footage was more, I don't know, like this. Like this. More tunnel, less all the other ones.
Just keep it down, it could be close.
But I mean, what do I know? I haven't even seen Nor I the Curse yet. Oh fuck! I should watch that next. I think it's pronounced Nora. I live in Texas and I don't know how to pronounce words. I'm so sorry.
And I mean, this is all beside the point, because mostly I just wanted to say that I had horrible nightmares after watching this movie of me running through a dark tunnel, being chased by an SCP. It fucking sucked. And I just want to make everybody else experience that too. Anyways, so with that in mind, The Tunnel. It's really awesome. You should watch it. It's cool as hell. You'll like it. You should watch it immediately. Let's go. And big ups to our boy SCP-69420. Our best boy, our good boy. I want to remind you, audience, this is our good boy right here. Like to leave one prayer for our good boy. One like equals 1,000 prayers, and he needs billions of prayers. Look at our good boy. Oh, he's such a good boy. George, I want you to CGI the good boy into the shot like I'm petting him, like he's my friend right here. I know you can do that with your bells and whistles. George is my new editor. Anyway, he's gonna edit the good boy in. Okay. Hey, I was serious though. You should totally like and subscribe. And also support me. On Patreon. Holy shit.